When we did the research, we found this really interesting Russian myth of Kitesh, a myth that would take us to the mountains of Siberia. And that just seemed like a really cool, remote, hostile place. And that became a great foundation for our story and gave us a landscape that was new for us, and it required a whole new set of technology for us to bring it forward. Well, what's exciting about this location is some of our spaces, our explorable spaces, are protected by guardians. And one of the guardians that we showed in our demo was this gigantic Siberian bear. Lara doesn't have the right equipment to deal with the bear in the beginning, but when you come back, geared up, powered up, it's still a very challenging fight. And it feathers beautifully into tombs because, the guardians of these tombs have a natural component to them. We have a nice mix of animals as well as people who are not local to the terrain. Of course, as a Tomb Raider game, there are supernatural elements, but animals are very much as grounded as we possibly can make them. That animal ecosystem is essential to the overall narrative and gameplay ecosystem. In the last game, we had a lot of narrative wrapped around hunting a deer. This time, it's more of a system. It really works into our upgrade system. The resources that you can acquire from a deer can craft different recipes, and those recipes will upgrade different weapons, like the bow. You won't just have one bow, you have multiple bows, and you can choose which bow and how you want to upgrade them. The other thing that's kind of exciting is we have a time of day and weather system that allows different animals to appear at different times. So if I want a recipe that requires an alpha wolf that only comes out at night, I'll have to retraverse to a location at that time to find and hunt an alpha wolf.
Why do wolves hate Lara Croft so much?
I don't think wolves like anybody. I think that's the great thing about wolves. But yes, Tomb Raider has a rich tradition of wolves as an enemy. There's an intelligence to a wolf, and that makes them scary. So I think they make a great natural predator for Lara. I really love the spirit of Lara as a global adventurer. But at the same time, with the last game, we established this one location. And what was great about that was you felt like you really got to know it. You got to learn it. And when you retraversed a space and you mastered it and you came back with better tools, and it's that loop of feeling overwhelmed to challenge then to mastery that I think has brought a new dimension to Tomb Raider. We demonstrated in the first section that Lara has 2 axes climbing up an ice wall, but also we have invested in the ability to upgrade some of our traversal mechanics. So we saw a little glimpse of how the axe turned into a grapple as she went across a tree. Traversal is still a staple of our franchise, and we are going to continue to invest in ways that the player can traverse vertically and horizontally across the landscape. We worked about 6 months on generating the technology we have for traversable snow in our game. We've invested a great deal into our effects system to make sure that you're seeing swirling snows in the air and off the ground and avalanches and things that just look tremendously interactive, crumbling ice walls. And of course, you saw the snow technology. When Lara's making trenches in the snow, it's a very believable, interactive experience. But the idea of her making an imprint or a connection to that space is very important to us. All of our animals make tracks as well. So if you're tracking a very specific animal, you could see those tracks form and you can use that as a way to follow and hunt your prey. But no, they're not permanent. The snow is still falling and we slowly fill them up. But it really does bring another level of immersion and connection between the character and the world. Snow is obviously very important to us, but there's a bubble of the world that seems to exist outside of Siberia. It's like, and we call it the oasis, a place that isn't completely permafrost. And this oasis, which we're not going into a lot of detail about, but just know that different weather, different temperatures are important to make sure that we're not going with one single look throughout the entire game. It's the other thing I love about this franchise is Lara's a very smart character, and she's able to use these environments that were once things that were an adversity to her, and she turns it on her enemies. And I think that's what's compelling is, yeah, we do bring her down again, but it's that loop of going down and up that makes her more relatable. Because if she was just perfect and a superhero, then we would lose some of the great things that we had on the last game. So we have to find those moments where the world will overwhelm her, but she will find a way to survive. Yeah, because some of this stuff's really hard. It's not easy being a Tomb Raider. I think we're going to be delivering a Tomb Raider experience that you would have dreamed of. The sophistication we're bringing to gameplay is as much as the sophistication as we're bringing to the graphics, and I find that extremely exciting.